Hi, everybody. I'm Nitika Chopra here for another episode of Truth Talks. I'm so excited about this episode because I always choose the topics that we're going to talk about or that I'm going to share with you from my heart, from my truth. And something that's been coming up for me a lot lately is that I want to talk to you more about the divine. I say God, but that has a lot of weird connotations for a lot of people. So if that's the case for you, you do not have to use that term. I have had a really strong, dedicated relationship to God, the divine, something greater than me, my whole life. And for some people, I think throughout the years, I've learned their whole family is like that, or they always went to church, or they always went to temple. And there were rituals within their family that had that be the case, where they have this strong relationship to God. For other people, I've learned it's really about a relationship to nature, and that has been their God and their divine in their life. And for me, it's really been about navigating my health journey. And not just my health, I would say my emotional experience with also with like relationships, because I think that's something that I've sort of touched on a bit in this Truth Talks and the Truth Today, but relationships have also been a huge part of my journey. Navigating relationships, having heartbreak around relationships, and not just romantic relationships. I'm talking every kind of relationship you can think of. I've written a bit about friendship and also my divorce and things that have happened in my past. But those two portals, I would say, have been conversations, experiences that have really cracked me open. So, my health and relationships. When I was diagnosed with my first chronic illness at the age of 10, and then my second at the age of 19, especially at the age of 10, I didn't really have a solid foundation of friends or people in my life. My mom was always my right hand. She was like my mom, my nurse, my best friend. And that was amazing. I know some people don't even have that. So I'm so grateful and I feel like indebted to her for that relationship and how much she was there for me. But she was also my mom. So we also butt heads, and I took out all my anger on her and all the things that young kids do and teenagers do and all that stuff. But I never really had those types of friends where I felt like this deep sense of belonging. And I felt often like I was on the outside. And there's so many situations in my life that I can remember where I did feel that sense of belonging and I felt like, oh my God, this is finally, it's happening. I'm creating good friendships. Like these people really like me. I really like them. We're having fun. Now my life is going to be different because I have these amazing relationships. And somehow or the other, either I was too intense or too needy because I'd been craving that for so long, or we just weren't meant to be, or they were bullies and mean, which happened to me a lot. I got very bullied when I was younger. So all of these things were kind of happening. And I bring this up because it's what led me to my relationship with God. It was not my family. I was born a Hindu, and we do, celebrate and honor a lot of Hindu traditions in my family, which I love and I'm so proud of. But it wasn't because of anything my family did that had me really gravitate towards God. And it's something my parents, especially my mom and I, kind of laugh about sometimes because she's so not religious. My family's not religious. But I had this deep longing to belong, to feel like I was not alone in this world, to feel like the psoriasis scales and the bleeding that was happening from my itching while I was sleeping and the bullying that was happening because my skin would literally flake from the tip of my foot to the tip of my head while I was at school. All of these things, I had this deep longing to believe that it wasn't in vain and that it was for a greater purpose than I could ever have imagined. That is what led me to God. I remember being 10, 11, 12, going through the darkest moments with my health at the time. They were the darkest moments. I've been through other dark moments since then, but they felt like the darkest moments ever with my health. And I would I didn't know it was surrender at the time, but I had this experience of surrendering to something greater than me. The pain, the emotional and physical pain was so great that I had the experience of okay, just use me and take me and guide me, whoever, whatever you are, because I don't understand what's going on with my life and with my body. And I was pretty young, but it was very significant, the things that I was going through. And I remember feeling that when I got divorced too. I was madly in love with my former husband, and I thought we were going to be together forever, which is why people typically get married. And when that crumbled and didn't end up working the way I thought it would, I had the same kind of experience. Like, use me, take me and show me, why would you have my life turn out this way? Why would you do this? And sometimes it was through anger, which I think is a beautiful, powerful catalyst of an emotion. And I don't think that we as women or just humans in general should shy away from anger. I think when it is directed at uncovering the truth, I think it is one of the most powerful things that we can harness. So sometimes it was through anger, and a lot of times it was through heartbreak and devastation. And a lot of times it was through wanting to hope for something greater. So I wanted to talk to you about this today because I talk about God and the divine and something greater than me a lot. In my personal life, I talk about it all the time. My friends, the people who really know me, will hear me talk about God and say, oh, well, God's kind of sending me this message, or I'm getting this sense, or I'm trying to listen for clarity from God, or whatever it might be. And again, for me, it's not a faith-based God. It's not a Christian God or a Hindu God or anything like that. It's just really this divine presence that is so much greater than me, that I believe is guiding my heart and my life every moment of every day. And so I wanted to talk to you about this, one, because I feel like we're getting to know each other a little bit better, and I want you to know this part of me, but also because if you are on a journey where you want to understand your deepest truth, I want to invite you to bring the divine into that conversation. It doesn't have to be the divine that I know. It doesn't have to be the divine that your parents know, that your best friend knows, even that people in your church, if you go to church, know. It's the divine that you connect with. It's the divine that you know. So part of the work that I want us to do together is for us to be courageous, brave, hungry enough to discover, what is that for you? What is the divine? Why do you even need to know what the divine is? What could it possibly bring to your life? I want you to bring a sense of curiosity. Something I've learned in nervous system work is that curiosity is a sign of a healthy parasympathetic nervous system. When we go into situations, moments, conversations, whatever it might be, and we feel rigid, or we feel like it's always been this way, so this is the way that it's going to be, or it can only be this way, even if we're not saying those things, if our vibe or our mood or our energy is that, we're not necessarily, most likely, we're not coming from a parasympathetic, rest and digest, calm nervous system place. So don't worry so much about how to get there, but just being curious about, how do I feel when I start to think about the divine? How do I feel when I start to think about God? Do I feel rigid? Do I feel angry? Do I feel like, oh my God, Nitika, why are you talking to me about this right now? Do I feel annoyed? Do I feel open? Whatever it is, none of the work that we do together is about something specific being like you being a specific way, right? It's never about, oh, you need to do it this way, or you have to show up exactly how I show up. Oh my gosh. Or you have to show up exactly how this one guru said that we have to show up. No, you are the guru and you are the master of your own life. And so our work is about, hopefully, me sharing how I've mastered certain things in my life so that you can uncover what that looks like in your life. Because I don't have the answer to that. So I wanted to talk about God and the divine today because for so many reasons, but one of the reasons is, as I said, we're getting to know each other a little bit better, but also because I've been really witnessing a lot of just deep devastation and turmoil around the state of the world. And that's been happening for a very long time, but there's a new wave of it coming up right now with so much hardship happening in every direction that you look. It's undeniable. It's without a doubt. It's happening. And it has this feeling like no one is safe, right? Even the people who are doing great work in the world, who were really championing minorities and underprivileged folks. It really feels like even those people are under attack. And yeah, from every direction, you can kind of see that. And I've been having conversations with people in my life where there's a lot of panic and there's a lot of upset and a lot of just feeling the weight of it all on their shoulders. And I noticed that there's a part of me that is aware of what is going on. I am keeping myself informed. I am aware. I'm having conversations. I'm reading. But there's also a level of my connection with the divine that is allowing me to have a sense of peace. And that is not always the case, right? I wrote about peace a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was last week. I can't remember. But when I was going through a health crisis and the peace that came up, to me, that is my relationship with the divine. That is me understanding that there's something so much greater than I could ever possibly see happening right now. And my relationship with the divine self and the human self, the divine energy and my human energy is what is happening every single moment that I'm alive. So there's a lot more that I could say about this. There's a lot that I could talk to you about when it comes to God and the divine. But I just want you to start with asking yourself about this aspect of your life. Do you connect with it? Do you, as I said before, feel annoyed, angry, frustrated, confused, pain, or open? Whatever it might be, there's no wrong answer. Just get curious about where you're starting from. And then I want to start having you look at, where do you see the divine the most in your life? And I smile when I say that because I see the divine the most in people. It moves me so deeply. I see God every time I see a human being. I see God so clearly. And some human beings can be a little harder to connect with the God in them than others, not gonna lie. But on a day-to-day basis, when I am connecting with people, that is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing their divine truth, their divine wisdom. When I see a human being, I see the divine the most. And I also see their human side. It's not that I don't, but there's something about the way that I'm wired that I want to look for their divinity, the divinity within them, their deeper layers. Because we all have those human layers that are dictating a lot of how we play out our life. But to me, that's not the true essence of who a person is. So I want you to take some time this week and think about, where do you see the divine the most? Do you see it in animals? I see the divine in animals for sure. I also see it in the middle of the ocean. I would live in the middle of the ocean if I could with sharks. It's very strange, but I'm a Cancer moon, so maybe not that surprising for some of you. But where do you see the divine the most? Do you see the divine in the work that you do? Is that where you see it the most? Do you see it in your body and through the relationship that you've had with your body? Do you see it in your children, if you're a parent? What does that look like for you? And it's okay if you aren't sure, first of all. And it's also okay if you see it in maybe one sliver of life, but you have a really hard time seeing it in other places. This is about a journey of exploring and uncovering the truth for you, right? So it's not about my truth, it's about your truth. And so if your truth is, I see it in this place, but I don't see it anywhere else, that's beautiful. I want you to know that about yourself. If your truth is, you find this conversation annoying or offensive, that's also beautiful. I want you to know that about yourself. If you found that through watching this video, you've started to sort of open your eyes or just reconnect with parts of you that really connects with the divine, I want to hear about it in the comments below. I love hearing from all of you. I love getting your comments. There have been some incredible comments over the last several weeks. And I have to say, so much of what I'm doing at The Truth Today, I'm not entirely sure what God has in store for me and what God wants me to do. I just keep showing up. And even today, I sat with it. I was like, what do I talk to them about today? What should I be sharing? And it was just very clear that this was the message I was supposed to talk to you about today. And it's kind of been like that, one step at a time, one post at a time, one moment at a time. I'm not really sure of what else God wants me to do. And I'm just kind of following the direction of the moment. So this isn't about having it all figured out, but I share all of that to say that when I hear from you and when I hear that something has resonated, oh my God, sometimes I'll read a comment and then just jump to writing another post because I'll feel so energized. So no pressure. But thank you for those of you who have taken the time to write comments, or even like restacking the article. That's something you can do on Substack really easily. And it actually really helps when you restack stuff, hearting the post, all of that. It all really helps. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for creating the space with me where I feel like I can talk about God and the divine with all of you, because that's not always been the case, that I felt like I could talk about it so freely and openly. I love you. I'm so honored to be on this journey with you. And I'm going to be launching Truth Talks episodes with people that I'm going to be interviewing soon. I'm not exactly sure like the frequency that we're going to have interviews versus solo episodes and all of that, but I'm really excited to do that. And I want you to stay tuned for the first episode of that. It's launching on May 13th. Love you all so much. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.